Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Chapter 15. Chapter 15 deals with retailing. Okay, so what do we look at in this chapter? Several different ways of classifying retail outlets, and then there's many different types of retailing that takes place outside of formal stores. So we have a whole bunch of these types of non-store retailing. And then we can classify retailers according to this retail positioning matrix. So this is the analogy between the four P's of marketing, product, price, promotion, and place or distribution. We can apply the same kind of concepts to retail stores themselves. And so we look at that. And then we look at the concept of the life cycle applied to retailers rather than just to products that we saw back in, I think it was chapter 7. And then the final section of this chapter looks at these challenges faced by contemporary retailers, not just in Canada, but in other Western countries as well. Okay, so let's just move on. Okay, so when we look at the four P's of marketing, where's my pen? Four P's. Retailing is part of the place P because it's the vehicle that the vendor delivers its product to the consumer. Okay, so the book defines retailing as all activities involved in selling, renting, and providing products to households or to the ultimate consumer. And I have a little slide here of some of the large retailing sectors in Canada. This slide it shows the profit rates, the profit margins for these different sectors over 5 years. I'm really not trying to show you what the profit rates are for these sectors. I'm really just trying to show you the list of the different types of sectors. So we have some store-based retailers dealing with motor vehicles. So we have new motor vehicles, used vehicles, recreation vehicles, furniture, home furnishings. So home furnishings would be paint and carpets and stuff like that. Electronics, appliances, building materials, food and beverage. So we have a whole bunch of subcategories into food and beverage, supermarkets, convenience stores, specialty stores, beer and wine stores, health and personal care stores, so drugstores, gasoline stations, clothing, retailers and accessories, clothing, shoes, jewelry, those are accessories, sporting goods, general merchandise, general store retailer, miscellaneous store retailers. Anyway, so we have a whole bunch of different types of retailing sectors in the economy. Okay, and so the book tells us that the retailing sector in Canada is a large industry in the country. I should just turn this off. So sorry. Okay, it's a large sector in the Canadian economy, and sales in the sector are about $480 billion Canadian per year. So I'm just going to write that down. It's about 480 billion per year. So the question I always ask myself. Okay, so it also says that in the retail sector in Canada, retailing employs about 2 million people, and that accounts for about 1/8 of all the jobs in Canada. So I say to myself, how big is 480 billion? So I tend to use Walmart as my stereotypical large company. Walmart is the American retailer, and Walmart operates around the world. Walmart's sales are about 500 billion US per year. And Walmart has about, I think it's 2.2 million employees in total. So Walmart, this single retailer in the States, this single retailer is the same size as the Canadian retail market. anyways, but so Walmart's big, and the Canadian retail sector as a whole is big, but obviously the Canadian market's much smaller than the American. Okay, and just for fun, I have some information here about Walmart. I was going to show you. I just tend to use Walmart as my example of a big company. So here's some recent information about Walmart. So for the fiscal year ending January 31st, 2015, so it's a year old, sales of almost that's 485 billion US, and their net income, their profit was 16.3 billion US. And then, so I've been saying that Walmart's a big company. So here's some interesting pieces of trivia about Walmart. Oops, oh, there's the first one there. So their profit equates to about $1.8 million per hour. So obviously they're doing something right. Oops. Okay, so every day the population of Canada shops at Walmart. So 37 million people shop at Walmart every day. Oh, that's more than the population of Canada. I think Canada's about 36 million people in total. Their sales in the US are 288 billion. So they operate around the world. So just the American sales are 288 billion. That's equal to the sales of a Kroger. I think Kroger's a food store, Target and Costco combined. Never been to Kroger myself. Okay, the typical Walmart store, supercenter, carries 140,000 types of products. The Walton family that controls Walmart's listed on the New York Stock Exchange, so you can buy shares in Walmart, but the value of the shares owned by the three remaining family members is about $152 billion, which is more than Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, and Michael Bloomberg. Michael Bloomberg is the former mayor of New York City, but he's also a big businessman. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. Okay, so they receive 25 job applications for every opening. Oh yeah, Walmart's kind of accused of killing the small business sector in around the world. Whenever Walmart moves in, lots of small businesses go out of business. So they've put 55% of the small retailers out of business in the 40 years ending 2002. So obviously they're a pretty big player. And do I have one more here? Okay, so Clorox bleach. They sell 25% of all Clorox sales, and 2014 the biggest product was bananas. Do we have? I think there's one more. Okay, 90% of Americans live within 15 minutes of Walmart, and net sales in 2015 were 482 billion. Okay, so they have 2.2 million employees, so that's more than the entire retail sector in Canada. And if their revenues were treated like a separate country, they'd be the 28th largest country in the world. Anyways, or economy in the world. Okay, so Walmart's a big company. Okay. Okay, so we have several different ways we can classify retailers, and we can classify them by type of ownership, by how much service they provide in store, and by different types of merchandise. So we're just going to walk through these three. So when we speak about the form of ownership, we can have independent retailers. So this is Joe's hardware store. So the business tends to be owned by a single person or a family, and these type of retailers account for about 60% of all retail sales in Canada. And so this is common for bakeries, sporting goods, jewelry stores, automotive supplies, books, paints, flowers. And then we can have a corporate chain. So a corporate chain is one company owning multiple outlets. So we kind of have we have a company chain. And with the company chain, a lot of the decision making is centralized in head office, purchasing, and then they send the product out to the individual stores. So I have a slide here of some of the large Canadian retailers that are corporate chains. And you'll be familiar with lots of this stuff. Okay, so 20 largest retailers in Canada. So the Weston Group is Loblaws. Loblaws stores, so No Frills stores, Supercenter, Loblaws in the food industry. So Walmart's big. Empire Company, they're also a big food company. I almost want to say, I'm just checking the list here. I almost want to say the Empire Group. That might be Sobeys. It's another big food retailer. Costco's big. Metro is also another food store, grocery store. Shoppers Drug Mart, Canadian Tire, Rona, so that's a building supplier. Safeway, so that's another food retailer. I know they're in British Columbia. I don't know if we have them in Alberta here. Home Depot, Best Buy. Okay, I don't know who this is. And oh, that's in our DC Equity Partners. Don't know who that is. Sears, Katz Group. Okay, that's the pharmacy people from Edmonton that own the Edmonton Oilers. Home Hardware, Jean Coutu. So that's a pharmacy network based in Quebec. They also operate in the United States. So Jimmy Pattison Group out of BC. They have lots of automotive retailers, and they have several food stores. Staples, TXG, okay, companies. It's department store. I've never been there. McKesson, that's an American pharmacy. Obviously, they're in Canada. I don't know where. I've never seen them myself. But anyway, so we have lots of large retailers in Canada that we're familiar with from our personal shopping. Okay, so those are large corporate chains, and then we also have a contractual form of retailing. So with the contractual form, we have two types here. One, we have these are independent stores. They're independent stores, but they work together in ordering. So we have the first kind is retail sponsored cooperative. And the example from the book is Guardian Drugs. So I have to admit, I don't think I've ever been in a Guardian Drugs, but actually it's a pharmacy. So you have all these independent stores, and then they get together and they buy, when they go buying their inventory, they work together, so they get good deals on quantity deals. And then the other kind is franchises, which we're all familiar with. So with franchises, what you're really doing is the franchisee, who is the business owner, they own the business independently, and effectively they rent the business system from the franchisor. And so the franchisee pays a franchise fee up front, then you pay a royalty on a regular basis based on sales. And usually the franchisor kind of controls the service delivery or the product delivery. So we have lots and lots of examples of franchises in Canada. Franchises are very popular in Canada, as we all know. So I have some examples here. I think I have the 25 largest. Oh no, I forgot to show you this. I'm going to skip over it. Oh no, I won't. I'm out of order here a little bit, but I'll go over this anyways. So when we're talking about retailers, we looked at some large Canadian retail chains. So I have some other information here. It's just kind of curious about who's the most successful retail store based on sales per square foot. So sales per square foot is a common way that retailers get compared. And so I was a little bit surprised to see this myself, but the most successful retailer in Canada in terms of sales per square foot is Apple. They sell, in a year, they sell an average of about $7,400 per square foot. So if you've got a 1,000 square foot store, you're selling $7.4 million worth of product. So pretty successful on a per square foot basis. Okay, Lululemon, about $3,000 per square foot. Costco, about $1,500 per square foot. Um, these are these are kind of interesting. They're just kind of fun to know. Geez, LVHMOA, Hennessy, Louis Vuitton. I think that's a women's fashion store. I think I could be wrong. Could be alcohol. 1,200 bucks a square foot. Rexall Drugs, $1,000 a square foot. Whole Food Markets, $1,000 a square foot. The jewelry chain, People's Jewelry, owned by Zale Corporation. That's about $1,000 a square foot. Best Buy, $800 a square foot. So this is a good way to. These are good benchmarks to use in your industry to see how successful you are. Shoppers Drug Mart, $790 per square foot. Mountain Equipment Co-op, $770 per square foot. Okay, I don't know who Zara Inditex Group is. Don't know there. Okay, so the Weston Group. So this is Loblaws. There's No Frills, $600 a square foot. The Source, $600 a square foot. Sobeys. Okay, that is the Empire Group, $580 square foot. I think they have a couple more here. Anyways, it's just kind of interesting. Oops, wrong way. Roots, 760 per square foot. Metro, the food chain, that's $530 a square foot. Max Milk, owned by Alimentation Couche-Tard, it's based in Quebec, $530 a square foot. Golf Town, don't know where they are, $500. Walmart, about $500 a square foot. IKEA, $500. Oh, and I think I have one more. Oh, I'm just gonna skip down. I have too many. Okay, Dollarama, Sears, in the Bay. Anyways, okay, so we can measure retailers in terms of sales per square foot. Okay, so what I was trying to show you was examples of some franchises in Canada. When I spoke about the retail sponsored cooperatives, the book gives us the example of Guardian Drugs. So another example of that type of contract system, the retailer sponsored cooperative, is Home Hardware. They're independently owned. They're not franchises. They're independently owned, but the buyers get together and they buy their inventory in bulk together. Okay, so examples of franchises. I finally got here examples of franchises. So we're not going to go through 100. Okay, so in Canada, so franchisees pay a royalty based on sales to the franchisor. So for retail products, so restaurant type products, they pay an average of 6% 6% of sales as a royalty, and service-based franchisees pay about 10%. And the most common type of franchise in Canada are restaurants, so food franchises, and the big ones are pizza, burgers, yogurt, sandwiches. So this is Pizza Hut, McDonald's, Baskin Robbins, and Subway, and then a bunch of other ones. Oh, there's KFC down with the chicken. Okay, and then I have some examples of some of the large franchises in Canada. Okay, so as we would sort of guess, Tim Hortons is one of the largest ones with about 3,500 different franchisees. Subway restaurant about 3,000, McDonald's about 1,400, Jan Pro. So this is a cleaning franchise, so office cleaning about 1,300, A&W about 800, Remax, the realty folks about 800, Pizza 724, KFC 650. What else do we have here? Okay, Dairy Queen. So Dairy Queen about 600, Country Style Foods. Oh, I've seen those. Never been them myself, but about 500 stores across Canada. Domino's Pizza, M&M meat shops. You see those. H&R Block, the tax corporation people, about 400 franchises in the country: UPS Store, 372, Wendy's, 368, Second Cup Coffee Chain. Oh, I'm just going to skip on. I have too many of these things. Oh, okay, okay. So I'm just gonna, let's just leave it there. Okay, so back to ways of classifying retailers. So we've looked at the form of ownership, and we can also classify retailers. So we have McDonald's as an example of a type of a successful franchise in Canada, and here's some startup costs for different franchises across the country. So a Subway restaurant has startup costs of between 85 and $260,000. 7-Eleven convenience stores startup costs between 31,000 and 1.5 million. I guess it's based on how big your store is. Supercuts hair salon between 100,000 and almost 200,000. Hampton Hotels. So if you want to be a franchise in a hotel, you need between 3.7 and almost $14 million. Anyways, franchises are very common in Canada. Okay, so another way we can classify retailers is by level of service. Oops, by level of service. So we have at the low end of the scale, we have the self-service type businesses. So examples of this we know are gas stations, self-serve gas stations. Sometimes when you go to building supply stores, there's no sales help. They're only at the till, and you have to go and find your own product yourself. Another good example are the ATMs at banks. That's self-serve. And if you've flown in recent years, you know that the check-in at some of the airports is by kiosk, so you check yourself in. So that's another form of self-serve business, so very limited level of service. And then we have limited service, so this is where stores provide some service. And so this is like fast food restaurants. Yes, I mean, you place your order and then you sit down or you take the food out, so you kind of serve yourself. Anyway, so that's limited service. And then we have some full serve businesses, so some specialty restaurants, auto dealers. Certainly when you go shopping for a car, salespeople tend to come up to you and kind of help you with the process. And then in some high scale department stores, there are still lots of sales help, but I think it's becoming fewer and fewer all the time. Okay, and then the final way we can classify retailers is by merchandise line. And when we speak about merchandise line, we refer to the breadth of product line and the depth of product line. So the breadth is the number of different types of products. So you go to Canadian Tire, they have sporting goods, they have automotive goods, they have household goods. So those are different types of product lines. And then depth of product lines is the number. It's the number of models within each product line. So I go to Canadian Tire, I'm looking for a pair of skates. So they have men's skates, and they have men's skates of many different sizes. They have men's skates from several different manufacturers, and so they have many different models within each product line, men's skates or women's skates or whatnot. Okay, so we certainly have some specialty stores. We have some specialty stores out there. So these are stores that sell primarily just a single type of product, and good examples in Alberta here are some liquor stores or beer stores. I mean, they just sell beer, they just sell liquor, they might sell some other miscellaneous paraphernalia, but basically they're alcohol stores. We have general merchandise stores, so they have a broad product line with limited depth, and so that's like a local department store. You know, you can usually find what you're looking for at a local hardware store, but they might not have as much selection as some of the other big depots. Okay, then we have something known as a scrambled merchandising. So this is retailers that carry a number of different types of product lines, all in the same store. And to me, probably one of the best examples of this is probably a store like Shoppers Drugs or London Drugs that sell pharmaceuticals, and they sell food, and they sell toys. Sometimes they sell flowers. So they sell all these different types of unrelated product all out of the same store. And then these hypermarkets, we don't really have these I don't think we have these in North America, but they're large, they're super large scrambled merchandisers. And when we say super large, they have 200,000 square feet plus. And the big retailer that's categorized as a supermarket is Carrefour in France. And Carrefour in France, the single store has about 51% of all market share in groceries. Okay, and then we have superstores centers, superstores. So superstores have between 100,000 and 200,000 square feet, and they sell both merchandise and groceries. So they're a form of scrambled merchandiser. And some examples of that are the Walmarts of the world, the Loblaw superstores. They get the clothing on this side and the food on this side. And okay, and then we have this concept of intertype competition. So this is different retailers that really are different lines of businesses, but they carry products that compete against one another. So, for example, if we go to the gas station, we may very well find an ATM in the gas station. And if we go to the bank, we find an ATM. And when we go to a drugstore, we also find an ATM. So these are examples of and then you go to the gas station and they sell pop and chips. Well, you're not going to get pop and chips at the bank, but you go to the drugstore and they sell pop and chips and cigarettes, and these guys sell cigarettes as well. So even though this is basically a gas station and this is basically a pharmaceutical, they carry a number of product lines that compete against different types of stores. And so that's what intertype competition is. Okay, so we spoke earlier of, did I just, okay, sorry. Okay, so we spoke earlier of this distinction between breadth of product line and depth of product line. So the breadth of product line is the number of different product lines. So we go to a department store, so we go to Walmart, they have shoes, they have appliances, they have books, they have men's clothing. And then for each different type of product, they have many different models and variations on that product type. So at Walmart, we have suits. So under men's clothing, we have suits, ties, jackets, overcoats, socks. And then they have books, mystery books, appliances, dishwashers, microwave ovens, refrigerators, shoes, and so on. So we have many different product types within, or many different product models within each type. Okay, so this next little section looks at all these weird and wonderful forms of non-store retailers. So these are ways of selling product to consumers, but not using a store that we visit and buy stuff at. And I'm just going to move on to the next slide here because I kind of like this little chart here. So we can classify these different types of non-store retailers based on the level of retailer involvement and the level of customer involvement. And we kind of have this chart that kind of shows this increasing progression in increasing levels of active retailer involvement and active customer involvement. So at the very low end of the scale here, with very low retailer involvement and very low customer involvement, are these vending machines, which we see. And so we find vending machines in places where stores can't fit. So you see them on the street, you see them inside other buildings, and so on. And we know that usually the prices products sold in vending machines is usually a little bit higher than what you'd get in a regular store because the vending machines have higher maintenance costs. And of course, we see this with the coin laundries, they're effectively vending machines. So in Moodle, I have a link to a very short video that you might be curious in looking at in case you've never seen it before. So I know that not everybody believes in heaven. And so this little video is proof, living proof, that heaven actually exists here on planet Earth. And the little video is a video of the beer machines in Japan. They're vending machines that sell beer on the streets in Japan. I lived in Japan for a couple of years, and we frequented these beer vending machines on a regular basis. But anyways, they're kind of neat. We don't have them in Canada, but they do exist in Japan, and that's heaven. That's heaven. Okay, so next form of non-store retailing, kind of moving up the level of active involvement of retailers and customers, is direct mail and catalog sales. So this is where the store has catalogs, you find them in your mailbox, and then you go on the internet and buy, or you pick up your phone and you buy from them. And these kinds of retailers, they tend to specialize in different market segments. I mean, we do have some big, broad market segment direct mail companies like Sears has a catalog, and Canadian Tire has a catalog. But we also have all these specialty retailers, so women's clothing or men's clothing. Okay, and then next type of non-store retailer in terms of level of active retailer and customer involvement is television and home shopping. So you actively watch television. We usually think that watching television is passive, but anyways, so you watch television and then you pick up the phone, or you watch these shopping channels on TV, and then you pick up the phone and you place your order, or you place your order online. I've never actually bought anything from a television shopping channel, but I know that people do. Okay, then the next type of non-store retailer is online retailing. So these are vendors that sell their products only online. We know that nowadays many stores have both a kind of a bricks and mortar presence and they sell online, but there are some other stores that pretty well only sell online. So good examples of these pure online retailers, probably the single best example. One of the single best examples is Netflix. They don't have stores. You order your videos online, only online. And then the second best example is Amazon. Amazon also, up until the end of 2015, Amazon had no retail stores, and yet they still sell about $100 billion worth of product per year. But in late 2015, they actually opened up their first retail bookstore in Seattle, I think. Anyways, I don't know how successful it is, but they do have one actual brick and mortar store at the moment. Anyways, okay, so before I kind of showed you that Walmart was kind of my favorite example of a big company, and so Amazon is my favorite example of an online company. And I have a little bit of stats here to show you how big Amazon is in the world of online retailing. Oh, here's the video for the Japanese beer machine. Okay, so here's some stats on showing how big Amazon is compared to other online or other retailers that sell online. So these stats are a little bit old because this is from November 2015, but I just happen to know that their annualized sales are pretty close to about $100 billion right now. Anyway, so Walmart only sells about $13 billion worth of stuff online. Apple only sells about $11 billion worth of stuff online. Macy's department store in the States, $4.7 billion. Home Depot, $4.2 billion. Best Buy and Costco, la-di-da. So we can see that Amazon is the king of the hill in online sales. Oh, and then so I have something else that's kind of interesting here. So Amazon is an online retailer, and I suspect most of us are familiar with Amazon. You go to the website, you buy a book, or you buy music, or buy whatever you want. Um, so Amazon has recently come out with another new type of online retailing, which is going to be interesting to watch to see if it actually takes off. It's new, so we don't really know how it's going to work. But what it is, it's automatic retailing. So what it is you have a washing machine. You have a washing machine for your clothes, and you put a pile of detergent in the machine, and so you put a whole bunch of detergent in the machine for the next 25 washes, and when the soap container, the detergent container, is getting near the bottom, the washing machine automatically sends an order to Amazon to order more detergent. So there's not even any person involved. It's the machine doing the order for you. And so I know they've got this built into some new kinds of washing machines. And it's also washing machines, so ordering laundry detergent. And I think it's also for printers, for ink. Anyway, so it'll be interesting to see if that takes off or not. I guess if you wanted to change your mind for the brand, then it's probably not going to work very well. But anyways, okay, what else do we have here? The book goes through several different types of online retailing. So it talks about becoming a member of some online discount club. There's an online shopping robot, so it does the price comparison for you. There's some online shopping malls, so instead of just going to Amazons of the world, actually Amazon is kind of like a shopping mall as well, because they also sell stuff for other retailers. But anyway, so we have these online shopping malls, and then we have some auction services like eBay, and then some of the traditional retailers like Walmart also allow you to buy products online. Okay, and then for the Walmarts of the world, how can you buy stuff online from them? Well, I mean, you can go to their website, or you can get an app for your phone, and you can go walking around the store, and you scan the QR code on the product into your phone, and then you bring your phone and your basket of goods to the checkout, and then you can automatically pay for the products that you've kind of got in your electronic shopping basket. So this is relatively new. I haven't seen it or used it myself, but I have a feeling this is the way the world is moving. And then I have another example of these shopping through QR codes. I have two more examples. Let me just find it here. Okay, so I know that in some places at sports stadiums, if you want to order food or beverages from your seat, you can do that. So you have an app in your phone that has some kind of a menu in it, and so you order a hot dog by scanning the QR code in the back of the seat in front of you, and then the product gets delivered to you by somebody. This one is in the United States, Rogers Dean Stadium. Roger Dean Stadium. It's a baseball stadium. I think it's in Florida. I think it's. Anyways, okay. Then I have one more that's kind of curious. I haven't seen it in Canada myself personally, but I do know that it's been experimented with in Canada, and it's QR code shopping. So what it is, it's a virtual shopping mall. So in Moodle here, I've got an example of one, and the one in Moodle is in South Korea. So what it is, it's a subway station. So people are walking through the subway station to catch a subway or going home. And on the walls of the subway station, they have pictures of food. And there's QR codes on the pictures, and people use their smartphones to place orders from the subway station, and then the food gets delivered to their homes. So I haven't seen a food QR store like this in Canada, but I do know that there's been some experiments with children's toys around Christmas time. So you're walking down the street and there's a big panel, and on the panel you have all these pictures of these toys, and you take your phone, scan the QR code, it takes money out of your bank account, and then the product gets delivered to your home. So I do know that it has been used in Canada as well. And I'm kind of waiting for it to take off, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not going to take off. Okay, so what else do we have? Okay, we have telemarketing. So this is where so there's more involvement from the retailer here because you have a body on the other end that calls you up, and of course there's a high level of participation from the customer because you have to answer the phone and talk to the person. And then we have direct selling. So probably the best examples of direct selling that we can think of are probably Girl Guide cookies. So the Girl Guide's going door to door selling their cookies. And then probably the better example is Avon. Avon has something like 6 million sales agents around the world that go door to door. And Avon is not so big in North America anymore, but it's still big in some developing countries where they don't have as many retail stores. Okay, so this is our example of vending machine. We all know what that looks like. Okay, IKEA uses catalogs, fair enough. Oops, wrong way. Oh, this is an online portal. Okay, so off we go to retail strategy. Okay, so way back in the early part of this course, probably chapter 1, we talked about the marketing mix. And we talked about the marketing mix. The other name for the marketing mix is the 4 Ps of marketing. So we have these 4 dimensions of marketing that all boil down to words beginning with the letter P. So we have product, price, promotion, and place, otherwise known as a distribution. So we can apply the 4 Ps of marketing to individual products, but we can also apply an analogy to the 4 Ps of marketing to retail stores themselves. Because we talked about product positioning before, so marketers try to determine how customers see the product in the minds, or they try to affect how consumers perceive the product. And so likewise, retailers can position themselves in the market so that they have a certain perception in the eyes of consumers as well. So this is our retail marketing mix variables. So we have retail pricing, so that's our pricing P. Store location, so that's our place P. Distribution, retail communication, so that's our promotion. And then the merchandise, the type of merchandise they carry, that corresponds to our product P. So retailers can have different pricing strategies, different kinds of store location, different forms of advertising and promotion, and different kinds of products to position themselves in the minds of consumers. So we see some examples of this up next. Okay, so we can create this retail positioning matrix. So we draw a little, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to switch to my slide, because on my slide I've put this slide and another one together. Oh, where is it? Oh, there we go. Okay, a little bit harder to see, but so here's our retail positioning matrix. So it's just like our it's kind of like our perceptual map that we saw back in chapter 9. So retailers can they take a couple of features of their operation, like how much value added do they provide to consumers, and how broad is their product line. And when we create this little matrix, we come up with stores or examples of stores in these 4 quadrants. So Walmart, they have very low value added, but they have a very broad product line. Hudson's Bay, high value added products, more expensive products, but also broad product line, kind of like Walmart. So Hudson's Bay store is another department store. And then Payless Shoes, so it's a low value added, they're relatively inexpensive shoes, and it's a relatively narrow product line because it's only shoes. And then we have the jewelry store Burke's, which it's a jewelry store, so they sell high-end kind of products, but again, they only sell jewelry. So it's a relatively narrow product line. So there's this analogy between the retail positioning matrix and the perceptual maps that we saw some examples of product positioning back in chapter 9. So you have products that can be classified in different product features. So this is the nutritional scale, so low nutrition to high nutrition. And the other scale is, in this case, was drinks, whether it's a child's drink or an adult drink. This was the chocolate milk example where they tried to reposition themselves from a relatively highly nutritious product, but was targeted at the children's market, and they tried to move it into the adults market. Okay, so we're going to walk through these 4 retail positioning matrix variables in detail. Or more detail. I'm gonna come back there. I'll come back to it later. Sorry. Okay, so here's an example of Walmart in our retail positioning matrix. It's relatively low value products, but very broad product line. Okay, so we have these 4 retail positioning matrix variables. So we have retail pricing, we have store location, we have retail communication, and we have merchandise. And those correspond to price, place, promotion, and product. Okay, so when we look at the first one here, price, stores have different kind of pricing practices. When they buy the inventory, they mark the price up, and they can mark it up by different percentages. And then when they have sales later on, then they mark down the price. The book mentions this shrinkage issue. So shrinkage in the retail industry is merchandise that sort of disappears off the books. So sometimes it's due to breakage, sometimes it's due to theft, either by customers or employees. And then sometimes they're simply miscounts. So it's administrative errors are also considered part of shrinkage. So we have this difference between the actual inventory and the recorded inventory. Okay, so we have different, okay, so we have different pricing strategies. I guess we don't have a separate, there's pricing strategies. Here, I'm sorry. So we have different pricing strategies. I'm just getting mixed up by the store location thing. So we can have, retailers can use price discounts. So some merchandisers, they have regular sales, and so they're marking down their product, and that their use of regular sales is simply part of their pricing policy. And then we have some other stores that practice everyday low pricing, so they don't have sales. Their products, or they don't have sales very often. They just use the same low price all the time, and the best example of that is Walmart and Home Depot. And then we can have off-price retailing. So this is where the vendor sells branded merchandise below sort of the regular price, and the retailer buys the inventory directly from the manufacturer, who sells surplus inventory at sub wholesale prices. And so we have three different versions of off-price retailing. We have these warehouse clubs, so they're relatively large stores, like Costco is an example of a warehouse club. They're relatively large stores of 100,000 square feet plus, minimal customer service, and they have a membership fee that you have to pay. And then their product line is narrower than in some of the larger competing stores. And then we have outlet stores. So this is manufacturers selling surplus inventory directly to the consumers, and they charge 20 to 25% off the regular price. And then we have those single price stores. I think the book also calls them extreme value retailers. So that's the dollar stores of the world. And then finally, we also have discounters. So the stores buy the product at wholesale price, but they just don't have as much of a markup as regular retailers. Okay, so the next retail marketing mix variable is location, and we have different types of location that stores can be located in. We have the traditional business district, so this is the downtown area of a community. We can have regional shopping malls, so this is where we have 50 to 150 stores that targets people within 15 kilometers. And usually these regional shopping centers, they have several anchors, so these are the big stores that attract most of the customers. So it's the food stores, it's the department stores, the big food stores, the big department stores. And then they'll have a bunch of other smaller stores. And then we have community shopping centers. So you'll have one anchor and 20 to 40 smaller stores, and they obviously serve smaller communities. We have strip malls that we see all the time. So it's a small collection of stores in a neighborhood. So maybe we've got a restaurant and a laundromat and a gas station kind of thing. We have these power centers. So it's a large strip mall with multiple anchors. And then we have these lifestyle centers. I think there's an example of one in the book here. It's kind of like an open air shopping mall. So you've got these big independent separate buildings, but they're all kind of collected in the same area. So it's kind of like a shopping mall, but it's got more fresh air in it than the traditional indoor shopping mall. Okay. So the third retail mix variable is retail communication, and of course this corresponds to the promotion P. So stores promote themselves, they kind of promote their image to consumers, and so the image is sort of the view or the impression that consumers have about the store, and it's kind of a soft concept. So it's the image is kind of a combination of the physical qualities of the store and other psychological qualities. So there's a number of components to this. It's the price level, it's the store layout, it's the breadth and depth of product line, it's kind of the feel of the store or the atmosphere of the store. I think I've heard that, I should have found an example, but clothing retailers for teenagers are designed for teenagers, and parents don't like going in them because they don't like the music, they don't like the layout, and they're trying to keep parents out of the store, but that's partially part of the attractiveness to the teenagers, is because it's it's a no parent go zone. Anyway, so they create that image that appeals to their particular target market. Okay, and then the final retail mix component is merchandise, which corresponds to the product P, in the 4 P's of marketing. And so we have product depth or breadth and depth of product line. And then we have category management. So this is where the manager is responsible for all the different types of product in a particular market segment that customers see as substitutes for one another. So in a big department store, you'll have the shoes section, and the manager tries to manage the sales so they maximize profits for the whole category of shoes, as opposed to this particular brand of shoes or that particular brand of shoes or that particular brand of shoes. Um, so we have managers assigned by product category, so food, clothing, furniture, and so on. Okay, so we're kind of coming up to the end of the chapter here. So we have this concept of the wheel of retailing. So in this little diagram here, we move clockwise. We start here, and our retail stores, the retail industry sort of follows this clockwise pattern. So when a new store comes into an industry, into the retail sector, sometimes they start off kind of at the bottom of the totem pole, so to speak. So they have low prices, low profit margins, and they sort of have low status in the market. And then as time passes, the store sort of increases its prices a bit. They kind of increase their status in the market, so they can have higher profit margins. And then as time continues to pass, again, they increase their status, increase their price, increase their margins. And then at the end of the day, we'll have newcomers coming into the industry, and they start out at the bottom of the totem pole, and then they follow the same kind of circuit around again, the same kind of cycle around again. And so the book has an example here. I mean, I don't do a lot of traveling, so I don't think I've seen this myself personally, but they have the example of Taco Bell. And this Taco Bell Express, it's another retailer that's starting off in the bottom right-hand corner, so low status. I mean, they're selling their food products inside gasoline stations, I think. And so it's a very small restaurant, and they're starting off with a limited product line. So they're kind of low man on the totem pole, but maybe over time they would expand. And they would go through that wheel of retailing. Okay, so way back, and I can't remember which it was, so chapter 5 or chapter 7, we talked about the product life cycle. So the same concept of life cycle can be applied to the retail sector as a whole. So we have stores that go through a new type of retailer enters the retail industry, then it goes through a growth period, and then it goes through a mature period, and then it goes into decline. So the book's example, and so remember with the product life cycle, we had the total industry revenues, and then we had total industry profits. So we can look at the industry as a whole, the retail industry as a whole, in the same way with different types of retailers going through this life cycle. So an example of companies in the or retailers in the growth phase of the retail industry, we would still say that online retailers, so the Netflixes of the world and the Amazons of the world, there's more and more specialty products getting sold online. And then we have single brand stores. So this is like the Apple store. They just sell Apple products. So there's more and more of those kind of companies. It's kind of a combination of online. No, it's a retailer. So it's an online retailer. Sorry. Okay, and then we have some of these retail concepts that are in the growth stage. So single price stores. So I guess that's like the dollar stores, factory outlet stores, and warehouse clubs. Okay, I thought they would be kind of at the mature stage, but okay. So in the mature stage of the retail life cycle, we have fast food restaurants, convenience stores, supermarkets, department stores. So you may recall a couple years ago, the big Canadian department store of Eaton's went out of business. So they were a former department store. So that kind of indicates we're at the top of the department store format. And then you may recall a couple of years ago, after Zellers went out of business, the American retailer Target came into Canada, and then I think within about 2 years they changed their mind and they exited Canada. So that's sort of indicating that maybe this department store concept is a mature retailing model, and you need to find some other model to succeed. Okay, and then in the decline stage, we have the catalog retailers, probably because more and more people are buying stuff online, so they're using online catalogs rather than the old bricks and mortars, or the old physical paper catalogs. And then retailers in the business district is certainly in the decline mode. If you go into many small towns, there'll often be, or even larger towns, there'll be the old downtown area. Might be kind of a tourist area now, but most of the shopping's taking place in the big malls. Okay, general stores. So, okay, so I have an example here of another kind of company, another retailing model, which is new. So it's at this introductory stage, and it's in this mature stage. I think we would classify automotive dealers. So you want to buy a car, so you go to the lot at Ford or General Motors or GM, and you kind of kick tires and take vehicles for a test drive. So there's a new model. There's a new model for vehicle retailing, and it's being practiced by Tesla. And Tesla does not have the big vehicle lots that Ford and General Motors and the other traditional automotive companies has. They don't have car lots. What they have is a store in a mall, and it's kind of like a showroom rather than a lot-based store. And this is simply Tesla's model. It's the retailing model. And I noticed that they recently opened one of these Tesla showrooms at a mall in Calgary, at the Chinook Center in Calgary. So this is the store. It's just in a shopping mall. So they've got probably, well, there's one car there. There's probably another one behind it that we can't see in the picture here. And people go in, look at the model, and then they go home, and then they buy their car online. They buy their car online. Anyway, this is Tesla's new retail model for their vehicles, and it's quite a controversial form of retailing down in the States. Anyways, so Tesla's selling these luxury vehicles, right? The $87,000, $146,000 a vehicle. This is quite a controversial retail model in some places in the States because there's some old laws in the States, in certain American states, about vehicles having to be sold through traditional automotive lots, and Tesla's not playing that game. And so there's some states have laws that kind of ban Tesla sales like that. So I think, I think it's maybe in New York, maybe New York allows Tesla stores, but the neighboring state of New Jersey does not. So the New Jersey people have to go to the stores in New York City because the two states are adjacent, and then they can order at home. Anyways, so Tesla's kind of got this new model that they're experimenting with, and the reason Tesla says it doesn't need to have this traditional automotive dealership model. In the traditional automotive dealership, you've got this big lot of vehicles, and then you have repairs and maintenance in the background. And Tesla says they don't need to use that model. They don't need to have the big repair shop in the background because their vehicles are electric vehicles, and they don't have as many moving parts. So there's not as many repairs required to their vehicles. So they don't need to have this maintenance bay that you find at other vehicle retailers. Anyways, just going off on a bit of a tangent there. Okay, so the final section of this chapter looks at some challenges that contemporary retailers are facing. And it's kind of curious because you are probably as guilty of this as I am. So we have this concept of showrooming. So this is when people want to buy something, so they go to the bricks and mortar store. So you go to Canadian Tire, you kind of check out their prices, you check out their products, but then you don't buy anything from Canadian Tire, you go home and then you buy that product from one of the online retailers like Amazon at a lower price. And so really customers are using the bricks and mortar stores as kind of a showroom for these products, and they test drive the products, but they don't patronize them when it comes to sales. And so some of these traditional retailers are trying to reduce that from happening. So as the book tells us, some of these retailers are trying to reduce their prices to be more price competitive with the online retailers, or they're trying to add higher levels of service to entice people to actually buy from the bricks and mortar store. Okay, then another kind of challenge is retailers in getting involved in what's called multi-channel retailing. So when we speak about channels, we talk about the locations where people can buy the product. So we can have bricks and mortar stores where you can buy product. You can have online stores where you can buy the product. You might have a catalog division where you can buy a product. You might have some kiosks where you can buy a product. And so multi-channel retailing means one retailer using all these different types of channels, all these different distribution models, but they're all tied together, and consumers have the same shopping experience, a consistent shopping experience, whether they shop online, bricks and mortar, catalog, telephone, TV shopping channel, or whatever. So it pertains more to the big stores than the smaller ones. Okay, so another kind of contemporary issue in retailing is retailers exhibiting corporate social responsibility. So it's companies showing their green side, and we see this in stores like Starbucks. You know, they buy fair trade coffee and they kind of advertise that on the walls. It's the stores sort of flaunting their use of green electricity or recycling. So they're using some of this social responsibility practices as a way to market themselves to position themselves in the minds of the consumers. And then we have companies increasingly adopting mobile shopping technology. So this is where you have an app in your phone that allows you to engage in the shopping experience. So we mentioned before, Walmart has a little app that allows you to scan QR codes on products, and then when you get to the checkout, you can pay for the products based on the list in your phone. But Walmart also has another mobile piece of technology that allows you to, well, I guess it's not really mobile technology, but it allows you to order the products at home, and then, so you order these products online, and then the product gets delivered to you or somewhere in your neighborhood where you go and physically pick up the product. And at Walmart, that's called this grab and go. So you order the product over your phone or over your computer, and you tell them where you live, and then they deliver the product into these kind of lockers. And then I guess they must give you the combination key or something to go to the locker. Like maybe the locker's in a mall or in another store in your neighborhood, where you can just go and pick it up instead of waiting 2 days for it to get delivered. Anyways, there's all sorts of interesting mobile technology that companies are adopting more and more, because that's what shoppers are showing what they're interested in. Okay, so that's it for chapter 15, and we'll talk to you later.